We'll go ahead and move forward with the daily lineups here, especially for today. Really any day though, that we want to go ahead and evaluate and start getting our best lineups out there. The preparation process and everything that goes into it daily. So here's what we do: we reverse order the pitchers top ranked that this dash rank optimizer gives us here, as he has a 10.62, just a note, ERA with a 1.085 OPS. That's versus this Atlanta team, and it's not looking good for him today. So we'll go ahead and stack the Atlanta lefties. So we got one side of a team at least we can stack if we want to, or at least play some of those guys. We've also got 841 OPS Sal Romano, so we can go Arizona lefties as well as the switch hitter. So let's take it here from the top. That was Atlanta lefties, Arizona lefties, and switch. So here we go. For today, I just need a little bit of time for this to come up to organize according to team. As you notice here, this draft dashboard already takes into consideration all the lineups for today. Let's just switch over to, hopefully we get these games in the main 10 games, hopefully these teams. So just need a little time there to load. There's a lot of players in the database, but this is on FanDuel right now, if you notice. So that's what we're highlighting here for today. And we take it by the teams. Okay, so we got an Atlanta. We got to go back over here to first and catcher and see what we get. Organize the teams right here. So just need a moment. As we can see, the fantasy points per game on FanDuel, the weighted OPS, total OPS, and so forth. All right, so some of these players I've already watched from previous day, but we'll just leave that be for now, as marked red here. And once again, here for Atlanta, we can watch, of course, Freddie Freeman. He's already been watched. I'm not going to worry about watching Ty Flowers, not for today at least. And going over here to the Arizona, there's nobody at Arizona at that position there available. So showing that they're not playing. So let's jump ahead though to the outfielders to see who we can get. Also as a lefty on that team, just to be sure as who's playing at that spot, or hopefully higher up in the batting orders. As we generate a lineup here, I'll do that real quick. Change and adjust. Likely I'll go with a very similar lineup that I'll give you today here, but I'll make adjustments according to lineup aspects of changes throughout the day, of course, and taking into account the weather also. So we want to try to find, once again here, the Atlanta lefties and the outfielders, which includes Markakis and Ciarte. So those guys are watched, but we need another couple guys, of course, in the infield because it's taking longer here to load. I don't want to keep the video running too long, of course, at all, but to give you the general ideas of what's going on. As you can see this information yourself, if you get in the description part of this link of the channel of YouTube, you just click on the link in the description to get this as well. So Atlanta, there's a switch hitter, but we're not looking for that. So of course you just have to go and find another pitcher to attack, as they say, and that's not doing well, and go from there to find another team for the main slate, which I'll be working because all day slates are risky and so forth. And I'll show you exactly how to set your lineup, which is a better way than actually letting the lineup optimizer do it for you. You have that option here if you want to just pump out some quick lineups here, for example. But we're going to try to get the best value plays for the day as we go about trying to set this. So, okay, just a moment. So we also need to, we also need to attack probably Brad Keller of the Royals. His salary is only 5,500. He's appears to be an inexperienced player. His record is 1-1, 17 pitches per game. So then you want to look over to the bullpen. Is the bullpen of the Kansas City Royals that good? Let me look that up to get a general idea. I think perhaps not, but let me make sure. You can, of course, look that up in Google either by the best relief pitchers or type in something like, overall best teams, but that's from last year. You can go to like fantasypros.com, look up like the best relief pitchers right now, see if any matches on the Kansas City team. And I'm not seeing any of the best relief pitchers on the Kansas City team. In case you're not, up to like a lot of people are not. They have one good one. Kelvin Herrera used to be among the best relievers in baseball, but last season he was um, merely mediocre. He may be the lock-at closer. So I don't think that's the case this year. I doubt it, but it could be. So just some general information there. As we can, try to attack this. Let's say, we do so, and we take some Minnesota guys, and also let's say some Colorado righties to try to round out our lineup here. As I just go back to the outfielders to make this a little bit quick. Keep those guys in those lineup positions in mind as we are having to wait here, so we can set our lineups effectively. That was the Colorado righties. Whoever we can find here, scrolling down, such as Cuevas, a good deal there. I'm not really concerned about playing lefties today for the Rockies. And who was the other team we were looking at? If I can recall, the Twins, Minnesota. So we've got really all these guys are in play: Kepler, Rosario, and Buxton. I'm already watching the Mets, and that's not a bad deal. 793, Julio Teheran. So I can actually watch the Mets again today. So let's see what kind of a lineup we generate here going forward. As we move over back to, position by position, I'm just going to give you one example. So cut this a little bit short because I don't make these very long, so you can get about your day and get an understanding of how to actually choose players in your lineup. First thing, I look at two things. I order this up in terms of ranking. So these are your DFS rankings for today. At the first base catcher position on FanDuel, Freeman, followed by Muncy, followed by Romero, Realmuto, and Adams. But to get the best value, of course, you want to think about in terms of money. So the best or the highest salary guys, and then look on down as far as guys that we watched that are lower cost, such as Yasmani Grandal. He's got a great matchup, 904 OPS versus, as a switch hitter, Zach Eflin. So we can definitely play him, insert him into our lineup. Recommended there. Moving on. If you're taking notes, Grandal was at catcher, or first base, filling that spot. To rounding out the same thing here. Most expensive is not going to be affordable, most likely. We're moving on down to Brian Dozier from Minnesota, as we decided that pitcher was worth attacking today at $3,700 and probably batting first. So we'll look out to see that adjustment later if needed. Moving on to third. We'll just go ahead and do the same thing here, as we can optimize or look at the best optimization that's probably already in order. These are the top guys if you can afford to say you have some salary like $1,000 left over, you can upgrade to Arenado. You can surely do that, but whether you work him in there, so keep that possibility in mind. He's a great play today. But you can also, of course, go with Miguel Sano. So let's say he's locked in at third, at least for now. And at shortstop, moving on. Hopefully we'll get some value out of Sano, and he'll start producing in these this 2018 season. Same thing here at the shortstop. Make sure it's ordered up right. Story's the most expensive, followed by Turner and so on. And I've been watching Gene Segura, but we'll try to find a better matchup here. Possibly, nah, let's see. Brandon Crawford's playing John Gray. Simmons by this +7. We maybe got a matchup here. Fears. Andrelton Simmons. So we can certainly go with him at 3,800. I think we can fit him in there as long as we have a reasonably priced pitcher. So he's the play at shortstop. And in the outfield, of course, we'll have more options awaiting that to come up. Got some guys watched here, as well as some. If you want to keep, holding on to guys you watched last night, that's fine. You don't have to. You can clear all these. You have the option of just clearing all these ones that you watched the day before. I just didn't happen to clear it before putting this on. And so he's got a matchup here if you can afford them. Of course, as I mentioned, the upgrades if possible. But other than that, once again, the best value-driven price. We've got Romero from Minnesota we mentioned, and we've got not really Haniger. We don't need to watch him. Markakis for Atlanta, and rounding out the outfield, Conforto is fine in the outfield. So if you can afford, hopefully, all those guys. It depends on the pitcher, of course, how expensive that pitcher is. And looking at that here, we've got some top guys on the line, and so don't necessarily just think about paying for the best guy, Scherzer or Paxton. Although Scherzer has a very good, if you can fit him in, matchup today. I think the Orioles are high strikeout opponents. WRC plus advantage there as well in that category. So also you can consider maybe not Fernando Romero. So this is not looking good as far as the the other pitchers here. So Paxton, hopefully you can get him. We'll go ahead and watch him here today. So just so that we get somebody reasonably priced that we can play and plug in there. Getting 6.3 innings per game. Enough. Although it's got a -8 versus the Rangers, who can possibly put it up in the air. 4 lefties on the Rangers to look out for there in particular. But at least he's at home, giving him that edge or advantage there versus Scherzer perhaps, even though Scherzer is a better overall pitcher. And so, thinking about these things, you can go ahead and set your lineups like I showed you there. But one more thing to consider as far as like any must plays, guys that are doing good. If you watch this daily, you'll see this change from time to time. With so much variance in Major League Baseball, one day to the next, this will change as far as the studs or the value consistent, not so much value, but the low risk proven players at any salary. As you can look at these guys here, of course, Scherzer and Paxton. You can look at Arenado. If you can try to get Simmons, definitely a lock at shortstop. No need to play anybody else there. Segura we talked about, but he's not really going to be watched at this point. Joe Musgrove versus the Cubs. That seems a bit interesting. I don't know how that will exactly go, but it may be a good matchup if you can upgrade to Rizzo at first base. So that's a possibility there. So those are your most important plays of the day. I want to leave you with that and set it up for you. You guys have at it.